loves, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about 5 different things I did to prepare myself to move to Africa, specifically Uganda, like I mentioned in my last video. The 5 things we're going to talk about today are getting a job, being more consistent with your work, saving a particular amount of money, getting pretty debt-free, having a concrete plan, business plan, or whatever it may be for your trip, and a bonus at the very end as well. So let's get right into this video. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is getting a job. So personally, I knew that in order for me to live on this continent, and specifically to live in Uganda, I needed to have a job that paid USD, that gave me the flexibility to do what I needed to do when I needed to do it, and that didn't require like too much of a heavy commitment. So I kind of started watching a lot of videos. There's so much on YouTube, which is amazing, just about flexible jobs that you can do on the go. A lot of the videos that I did come across had to do with the United States, so that kind of sucks because it's like, well, I'm traveling abroad, you know? So yeah, I could work at home, but not in the US. And I'm not even from the US, so it was even more irritating. So specifically, I found a job teaching online. So I do teach online. My schedule is open, so it all depends on when my students are available and when they want to be able to pick up classes. So that's pretty much what I do, which I'm very happy about. I get paid in my USD per hour, depending on how many hours I end up working, and it's usually a monthly pay, but you can change it to be weekly, and that's what I ended up doing. If you want more info, you can check it in the description box below. I'm not selling anything, I'm just sharing with you guys the news that I found that worked for myself. So being more consistent with my online endeavors, that was one thing that doesn't necessarily work for everybody else, but for me, who does work online and does stuff online, I knew that I needed to become more consistent with my efforts. I didn't end up being as consistent as I wanted to, because one of my other tips ended up being more time consuming and took up a lot of my efforts than this particular tip. But I would definitely recommend, if you are a blogger, if you are a freelancer, if you are a YouTuber, whatever it may be, definitely become more consistent and create a plan for yourself prior to deciding to come, because that could be potential, not even just income, but connections that you can make, friendships that you can make, things that you can build and create an online community, and that moves around with you no matter where you move, and that's a huge component. Just personally, I feel like it was, especially for what I want to do in my future goals and my endeavors. The third thing that I want to mention is savings. So it is always recommended that whenever you make a life leap of faith, or whatever it may be, that you have at least minimum 6 months savings in your account. That sounds so ideal and easy, but there are a lot of people who realistically, that is a lot. Like, that is hard to attain. So what I did was, for an entire year, I had to sit and be like, okay, what can I do to make this happen for me? What do I need to make happen? What jobs do I need to pick up? What, like, minuscule weekend things, whatever it may be, what do I need to cut out? What do I need to sacrifice for a small period of time for me to be able to make this happen for myself? So that was huge. I ended up saving equivalent to 6 months, not of how much I had wanted, but I can live off of it. However, I just didn't want to just like live and slide by. I wanted to live well. So that kind of worked into factor number 1, having an online job. So I did have quite a bit of savings, and I'm very happy about that. In a few weeks, I'm going to be touching on my finances, my breakdown, what I ended up, what I have to still pay from in Canada, what I have to pay for that are fixed things here, flexible things, money just aside for like living life and socializing, like my breakdown of my budget. So do stay tuned for that. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel, because there's going to be so many more informative, really cool videos like this one on how to live your best freaking life possible. So my 4th tip, which is actually my favorite, is getting as debt-free as you can. So what I mean by that is, some of us have larger sums of debt that just are there. Like, you're not going to stop living your life because you owe money. That's ridiculous. Live your life. You have one life to live. What if you get run over by a car tomorrow? Like, what happens? Were you living your best life? Could you be like, yes, I lived my life, I'm so happy, I got everything I needed? No. So what I will say is, do as much as you can before you come. So like I said, a year prior, I had been planning this big jump for at least a year and a half, but like not proper planning. I was talking about it, I was like, yeah, next year I'm gonna go. Next year I'm gonna go live there for a while. And then 2019 happened, I was like, oh no, like I really do wanna go. What do I need to do to get this to happen? So what I did was become completely credit card debt free. I did not want to be paying cards. I don't want anything that I owed anybody, any bad debts, anything that revolved in that, I got rid of immediately. So the only thing that I actually have owing at this moment is my student loan. So I wasn't gonna sit there and wait till my student loan gets paid. I would have come when, you know what I mean? I could have made it happen, but I didn't want to keep elongating my goals. You don't even know what you can find of like living your best life. You could fall on an opportunity that ends up even paying it, you know what I mean? And it's like you wasted 2 years and kept saying you're gonna, and you didn't. To me, that's crazy. So I ended up paying immediately all my credit card debt. I sacrificed my summer. My T-Dot summers, Toronto summers are everything. They're so fun. But I didn't brunch. I didn't go out to do a lot of things. Like I sacrificed so that I could have this to happen. And not even just this, it felt so good. It felt like the biggest like elephant thing off my chest of just being like, wow, I paid like 10 grand in cards, I'm free. Like, thank you. I was so happy. I was just so much happier. I felt so much lighter. So I do have one credit card. And I'll go more in depth about that after, but I do have one card, and that's just to like keep my credit, to build it back up to a better place, because I will mention that in my finance video about all things finance. And the fifth thing that I want to mention in this video is make sure you have a mentor. I wouldn't really recommend doing big leaps or changes in your life without having somebody to talk to, or somebody who's done it before, kind of understanding and seeing their journey. I just feel like it's one of those things of like doing your due diligence. So personally, for example, for my business idea and endeavor that I have going, I'm so grateful that I was able to find a mentor and someone who understood the business culture and the industry in this country. And they can give me a lot of tips and feedback. I never did that in previously with a lot of my with my last business endeavor, and I feel like that really bit me in the butt. I had a mentor, but I realized as I grew older, there's mentors for everything. Don't have one mentor for everything. That doesn't make sense. Have a mentor for your finances, someone you look up to for that. Have a mentor for business, because that's someone who's doing what you want to do or is in a position that you find interesting. Have a mentor for beauty and feeling good, looking good, and clothing and whatnot, like a stylist, somebody that you look up to in that sense, where it's like, wow, like they look fantastic, let me get their tips. Finding the best in every industry of the people that you know in your everyday life. And if you don't know anyone, welcome to YouTube. That's what this is for. You'll find people, you can kind of, you know, take what they say and make it work for you. Take what they say with a grain of salt, or take what they say like the Bible. It's up to you, but just definitely get a mentor in every area of your life. Oh my God, I cannot stress that enough. You can save yourself years of heartache and sweat and tears, and you can just do it easier. Like, life is all about working smarter, not harder. So frickin' find people who are already doing what you want to do and go for it. So that was one thing. Find a mentor. So I'm lucky enough, like I have a lot of family who lives here. I have friends who went to school abroad who now moved back. Like, there's so many things where if I have a question, I just pick up and call. I know that it'll get answered. I know there's a family member who will help me kind of figure out where to get what I need, or like my dad who will drive me around because I don't have a car and get what I need to get done. So definitely get mentor and make a plan. Oh my God, please make a plan. If you're gonna say, like for example, like myself, I'm gonna live somewhere for 6 months, make sure before you leave where you're going, you have a plan of what you're doing for those 6 months. The last thing you wanna do is to sit around doing nothing, because time is valuable and you could be using it for something, duh. So that's a huge, huge thing as well. And the bonus thing that I want to mention, it's a bonus because I unfortunately wasn't able to do it because, well, I will mention in my finance video, my finances were not the greatest for the last couple of years, and I definitely shot them down with just a really bad decision. But now I know better. So one thing that my bonus, so my 6th tip would be to get a travel card, because what I would say is live off have your savings, but have your travel card, a card that gives you benefits from traveling, and you spend everything that you can on that and then pay it every couple of days, because you can get so many perks from it. You can get so many, especially if you live in the US and you're doing this, like, you guys have so many more cards than the rest of the world. Canada doesn't have as much offered in terms of credit cards, but travel cards. So you could end up getting flights by the time you've paid with all your expenses with your card. Like within a few days, pay it off so that you can take your mini trips. I want to go to Nairobi. I could be paying for Nairobi through travel perks had I had that card. You need obviously a particular credit score and a trackable income, and because my income was all over the place, it was harder for me to be able to get one. But I feel like 2020 is my year, honey, and I will be able to. I want to travel for free. Who else wants to freaking travel for free? Please comment below if you want to be able to do all these trips and live your best life and not have it be on your dime. That is what we're all about. Working smarter, not harder. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this. Please tell me what you found informative, and if there's any more tips that you would consider preparing prior to, before moving and changing your whole environment and your entire life, honey. And please remember, like I always say, to level up, elevate, and live your best, most authentic life. Please check out my next videos here, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye, loves.